Do you ever have that at shows where someone sort of works himself into a shoot, brother, and they're like even if they know what's going on, they're just like, I got to test this guy. And they have fallen into the trap, so to speak.
I mean, not wrestlers, not so much unless they haven't said anything. Because sometimes I get a little wild on these promos, and
Sure.
Atticus as well. We'll just kind of say stuff, but I think they all know, like, hey man, I'm working here. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
But fans, it's hit or miss. I've had, like, since we started doing this 440 thing, like, fans have tried to fight us, which is pretty crazy to say in 2021. You know what I mean? To get people to believe that much.
Is that a badge of honor for you?
Yes, but also
You'd like to
yes
not get
and
hit in
no.
the face with batteries as well?
Well, I mean, I don't care because I'll fight somebody. I don't really go ahead. I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. Try. I just, like, you're 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose that. Not to say that I'm some badass or something, but like the problem with it is that, like, some fans will, like, get online and be like, hey man, I'm just messing with you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, like, you don't have to tell me. Like, so it's like, it's a very weird, like, kayfabe, not kayfabe, like, just it's hard to explain. Like, it's very cool because I think wrestling has gotten away from us a bit, and I think it's cool to bring it back to those old school roots, and to show that you don't have to do 15 Canadian destroyers and all this stuff. You can just punch, kick, and be a bad guy. So it's a badge of honor in that way. I don't want to fight anybody, but if I have to, I will.
I saw some real angry people after you beat AJ for the GCW title. Like, there were some really livid people because they went from ending like one historic GCW reign and it being this moment to like, oh,
Yeah, just the air got sucked out of the room real
it was
fast.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's really good.
The craziest was at Run Rickey Run when the riot happened, when everybody was throwing the trash in the ring.
Yes.
We literally, like, you can't see it on TV on tape or anything, but on the way out, like, people were trying to hit us, and, like, it got a little physical with some of the fans. Just the energy in the room was, I think, just a bit too much when you mix in alcohol as well. Doesn't help. I felt like I was in Puerto Rico in '87 or something. You know what I mean? Like, so we not so much had to fight our way out, but things got a little physical with some people. So yeah, I mean, people fucking love Nick Gage. That's just a testament to him. Really, that's what it is.
They do. Do you find that people, whether it be on Twitch or I know that you all do a lot of stuff, additional stuff on the 440 YouTube, that they sit down and they watch your stuff and they're like, oh, I thought you were really a giant piece of shit, but you're not, and you're really cool.
I think the people who watch our stuff know that we're not giant pieces of shit. The people who think that we're just giant pieces of shit refuse to watch it. So like, I think the people who know, and they're like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, thank you. Yes. And then there's other people who are like, yo, fuck Ohio. Like, you're a piece of shit. Like, get out of here. So it just depends on the person, I guess.
And the work that you all are doing, like, I mean, Greg Iron is such a talented guy. To be able to overcome what he's overcome and be a guy that you want to watch get the shit kicked out of him all the time. Plus, he's a great dude. Like, it takes an awful lot of talent to be able to I don't want to say manipulate a crowd like that, but control a crowd's emotions like that. When you all do that, like, are you looking at it? Because, I mean, this is independent wrestling and you got to make money off of yourselves. Like, is there like a bit of a hit that you guys take with merchandise, or do you think that people enjoy the work that much that they're just like, yeah, we're gonna support this?
It's the opposite. Our merch is crazy.
That's awesome.
Ever since this has happened, and since we took our merch into our own hands and like we print and ship everything. Like, I don't know if you see these shelves behind me, but that's all 440 merch. We've taken it and started our own and done and printed, sold, pack everything our own merch, and it's gone crazy. So if anything, this has doubled, if not tripled, our merch sales for all of us, I think, individually and collectively. I really do think, like I said earlier, like, wrestling has just gotten away from us, and it's become such this, like, hyper athletic contest of crazy who can do the most moves, that people want this story. People want to be quote unquote tricked into thinking I'm an asshole. I don't do interviews. I don't really go and sell merch. I try not to talk to fans at shows. Like I'm very committed to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it helps because they want to be taken back to that time when they believed and they didn't know who was supposed to win the belt and who was getting fired for this and who's banging who. They didn't know any of that shit. You know what I mean? They just wanted to watch Stone Cold Steve Austin beat up Vince McMahon. You know what I mean? And fucking Nick Gage is Stone Cold Steve Austin and I'm Vince McMahon and everybody wants to see Nick Gage beat me up. And we're not giving it to them and they're getting mad. And that's another thing. We're not giving them what they want a lot because fans are so used to getting what they want that we're not giving it to them, that they're getting pissed. And then they realize that I'm doing it on purpose. And they go, you fucker. And then they buy a t-shirt. So it's like, I think that fans really, really want storylines on the independent level. I really think they want well thought out matches that don't go crazy and build to things. And so we have technologically the most advanced wrestling has ever been. And like, I think people don't use that to their advantages whatsoever. You can really tell a story and you can take wrestling back and make it what it was, but also what it could be. And not to try to pull the wool over anybody's eyes and be like, hey, this was real, but you can kind of make them believe for a little bit. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I don't think I knew how much I appreciated the story that surrounding the story even until I got older and I was like, oh yeah, I liked Savio Vega and Steve Austin not because it was this insane work rate match, but because they told a story in the months leading up to WrestleMania 12 and following and all that stuff. When you're out there doing that stuff but somebody likes your work, do you prefer that they boo you, or are you like, I don't give a shit what they do, but because I mean, there are some people where it works better aesthetically if somebody who actually supports the work actually boos them.
Yeah, it don't matter to me, honestly, because there's always those guys that like the heels. There's always those fans that are like, that like the NWO back in the day. It's kind of like one of those deals. So I don't really care. It's nice if they play along and if they boo and things like that. I appreciate that because that just helps the show. And like I said, it goes back to like taking it back from and like making people work for stuff and it's I don't know. I don't want to get on a big tangent of how I think wrestling is today, but like, but yeah, it doesn't matter as long as they're reacting. Whether or not they get what I'm doing or not, because sometimes people will be like, this has happened a few times. Like I'll be like doing a headlock or something because like I love Randy Orton and I think his straight up not giving a fuckness is like the best thing about him. And like he does not give a shit what anybody in that crowd thinks about what he's doing. He will ride a headlock for 5 minutes. He doesn't care.
Yes.
So I really take inspiration from that. So I'm at these deathmatch shows doing headlocks. And someone in the crowd would be like, oh my God, you're so boring. Like I heard them say it and I looked at them and I was like, I'm doing it on purpose. And they're like, oh, you fucking asshole. But then these other fans don't realize that I'm being boring. They just think, oh, he's an asshole. He's being a heel because they're not like smart marks or whatever. So like I get them twice.